Welcome to Cooking with Dave and Audie. I'm Dave, that's Audie. Today we're making roux. Roux is a mixture, R-O-U-X, is a mixture of fat and flour. It's equal parts by weight. You can use vegetable oil, you can use butter, you can use peanut oil, canola oil, whatever it is. Today we're using peanut oil. It's used to thicken liquids. When you make roux, you have to cook it at some stage. And the more you cook it, the more color and flavor it develops. But the less you cook it, the more thickening power it has. No matter which way you do it, you need to bring that liquid up to a full boil before it reaches its full thickening power. So let's put it together. Like I said, equal parts by weight, flour and oil. And you really don't need to weigh it because you can make it a little thinner, you can make it a little thicker, and it's all pretty much the same. So there's just a texture that you're looking for, more or less. And today I'm using peanut oil. And it should be pasty. Could be a thick paste or thin paste. For what we're doing to cook this roux, and we're gonna cook it for a long period of time, a couple of hours, you actually need it or want it to be a little bit runny. So the reason you're mixing flour with fat instead of something else is because when it's mixed with fat, you can add it to a liquid, a water-based liquid, a moist liquid, and not get lumps of flour in whatever you're trying to thicken. So this is pretty fundamental when it comes to cooking. There are lots of other great ways to thicken liquids. This is classic, that's why we're showing it to you, and it's strictly necessary for a dish that we intend to make. But not my favorite way to thicken things, not Audie's favorite way to thicken things. Some other time we'll show you other ways to thicken things.
I think you hit it on the head. It depends on like what we're going to cook.
Absolutely necessary.
You absolutely have to have it. Yeah.
So take a look at the consistency I got going on here. It's really thick, but it's still a little bit runny. You can see how it kind of rolls around. We could use this now as it is to thicken something. But that would be the light side of things.
And
I'm more about the dark side, of course. So we need to cook this. In order to cook it evenly in a very controlled way, we're going to put it in the oven rather than cook it on the stove top, which you can do. I don't recommend. You risk a lot of things when you do that. So first of all, if you're not really careful, you get little scorched parts of it. And then that gets worked into everything else and all has sort of a burned, scorched flavor.
Right.
That's bad. If you do it like this, there's much less risk of scorching some part of it and then ultimately having to just use it anyways. Also, when you do it on the stovetop, you have to stand there and stir the whole time, and you could be there an hour doing that stuff. And then the last reason is because it's on the stovetop and you're having to sit there and stir with it and mess with it the whole time, the likelihood of injuring yourself increases exponentially.
Heard.
And this stuff is no joke. When you get this hot, and it needs to come up to 375, 400 degrees in order to start turning color and cooking properly. And it's like napalm. It sticks to you, and I'll show you while it's not hot. It sticks to your finger. And when that's 400 degrees, you can't just wipe it off.
No.
And you can't just rinse it off in the sink either.
No.
It sticks on your skin and it burns you down to the bone, basically. And I saw Audie do that to like half of his hand. It was pretty scary.
It was pretty bad. Ask my brother. Shout out to Mark Morris. He saw that happen. I got the worst burn in my life.
I have the oven preheated, 375 degrees. Towards the end of this cooking process, we're probably going to crank it up a little bit from there. But we're going to put it in just like this, and we're going to show you each sort of shade of color change, or every other couple of shade of color changes to show you how it goes through that process.
And this is no joke. You expect an hour and a half, 2 hours,
It sort of depends on your oven and how much roux you're cooking and all that kind of stuff. We don't really or aren't really going to have to stir this or anything like that. In fact, you really don't want to. You want this to happen evenly. If your oven cooks fairly unevenly, you might have to stir it. I think my oven's going to be all right. Center of the oven, best heat. So that's our dark roux. It's as dark as we're going to take it. You could go a little bit darker, but after that you need to start watching it really closely or it could burn pretty quick. As far as storage goes, we're going to let this cool down. Once it's room temperature, you can put it in any airtight container, chunk it in the freezer. It'll last there indefinitely. You can use it for anything that you want. We're cooking with Dave and Audie. I'm Dave. That's Audie. That's Dark Roux. If you like our stuff, subscribe to our channel. Like your favorite video. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you want to see. Thank you very much. Have an awesome day.